Welcome to the ManTFup podcast. I'm KimmyB.
And Lenny.
All right, so listen, before we go any further, please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and share on all social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We are everywhere. You can also subscribe to our podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, which is, again,
Anywhere.
YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Buzzsprout, Apple. Yeah, literally, we are absolutely everywhere. So let's get started. We shot one podcast the other day, and then literally as we were wrapping things up, I came across this headline regarding Cam Newton and a recent appearance on the $1 Million podcast where he... Seriously,
folks?
Seriously? This is what I'm dealing with.
Oh.
Amateurs!
Busy guy.
Amateur hour up in here. So anyway, Cam Newton, and yes, I'm talking about quarterback Cam Newton, sat down with the $1 Million podcast, and somehow they got on the topic of women and you know, what he's looking for in a woman and what he's not looking for. And this is just a little clip of what he said and what has gotten the Insternet all up in arms. So let's see if we can... Hang on.
By my father. My parents.
Hang on, let me start from the beginning. So you guys can hear.
A perfect example of what a man was in my life by my father. My parents has been together for 36, 37 years now, and it's a beautiful thing. I grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Okay.
A bad bitch is a person who's just, you know, girl, I'm a bad bitch. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of women who are bad bitches. And I say bitches in a way, not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Now, a woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
So much to unpack right there. So he went on to say some other things, and then I wasn't...
Now, a lot of women, now the kickback of that is be quiet. I'm going to be quiet for the man and handle his business. You know, that's what they say. Oh, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be submissive to a man and handle his business. That's what they're going to say. So what is your...
But it's ways to do it. And I'm not just about to sit up there and beat up my queen.
No, I ain't saying like that. Yeah.
But I'm also gonna also tell the men to start being men, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, that sucker shit should not be rewarded.
And what sucker shit? So,
you know, when a person carries himself social media wise, and it's a fraud in real life.
okay.
You know, it's more to every person that got money, or every person who's rich isn't a real one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that gets kind of misconstrued in this society now, because a lot of people have money, but they're not genuine people, you know?
Right.
And I pride myself, everybody who knows me knows, like, bro, Cam's a solid dude. He keeps his circle extremely small. I'm not afraid to be by myself.
Okay, so he lost me at the end there.
I like that
I
comment,
mean, you know, what comment did you like? All of it?
though. No, someone posted Jimi
Oh.
Hendrix wants his outfit
Oh,
back.
yeah, that's Sinclair. Sinclair pointed out, like, calling them bitches is his first mistake. Sinclair is an incredible artist, but unfortunately, sometimes the source dilutes the message, right? And by that, I mean, what he was saying in principle, I don't completely disagree with. And I'm sure that might actually bug some people out. You know, as far as women, we've had that conversation on the ManTFup podcast before. Like, are we upset about bitches? Remember, I think when we had Stella and Rachel
Bitches works.
on. Okay, you're not allowed. You're my man. You're not allowed to comment on that.
I'm allowed to comment on it.
No, let the woman comment on whether or not bitches is an appropriate term when referencing women. I mean,
Why? If it's in music,
okay, really? That's
people
what
love
we're
the
doing?
songs. Why can't I say it?
What do you mean? Why can't you say it?
Why can't I say
First
it?
of all, you're not a rapper, and
What does
you're
that have
not
to do
writing
with
a song.
anything?
You're just running around calling people bitches. I mean, there's an entertainment value, and then there's something else. But no, I think I understand what he was saying because we do reference ourselves that way, ladies. Like we do walk around, hashtag boss bitch, hashtag boss babe, hashtag bad bitch. Like, like we give our friends props in that manner, So it's one of those things where if we don't want other people to reference us in that way, then we should probably stop referencing ourselves in that way. I'm not completely offended by bitch when used in that sense. However, when it comes from Cam Newton, I tend to question whether or not or to what level he has respect for the women he's thinking of in his head when he says bad bitch, boss bitch, whatever.
It's almost
it's
like
a little condescending.
You can't talk to. I mean, it's almost like he's talking from an experience he had with a woman, right?
Or many. He's got like 17 kids.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you're at home with your woman and you're like, get over here, bitch, that's normal. You know
That's
what I mean?
normal?
It is in some relationships.
Come here, bitch. Like, absolutely not. Not
I mean,
in any
you can't
relationship I've ever
screw
been.
around with your woman like that.
Okay, but there's a different, like just a
So-
normal course of conversation, Lenny. Like, hey, bitch, bring me my dinner. Like, no, I'm going to think you have a wife beater on and a can of, Natty Light and a big beer gut. And the next thing, if you don't do it, is going to be a shoe upside your head.
Wait, hang on. I got to talk to my old lady. Yo, bitch, give me a beer. Is that what you're talking about? When you're on the phone with your boy?
Yeah, no, Len, this is not going well for you. Oh my God. Can you stick to the context of what we're discussing right now?
Sure.
No,
I'll
literally.
get
So
serious.
we got, thank you. Angela says that is not normal. No, that is not normal. In a song which is used, but to a person, there are lots of other words to refer to a lady. That is a lack of respect for women. That's what Vicky said. Absolutely not normal. Plus, would he say that if it was a woman on that panel? And that's a good question. I mean, like I said, I'm not super offended, and that's going to sound horrible. But like I said, I think when he's referencing, because when he wanted to address women, he said, to me, a woman is.
Yes, it's his opinion.
And it was nothing to do with a bad bitch or a boss bitch. You know what I'm saying? He had a completely different take on what that is. Go ahead.
I think women in today's society, a little bit, I'm not by no means an expert, but I would think what he's looking for is someone who is, all that in a bag of chips at their profession, lawyer, doctor, whatever she is,
Yeah.
radio personality.
Yeah.
But when she comes home, she's a wife or a girlfriend in the traditional sense. That's what he's kind of looking for. And a lot of these women carry I make money too, to that goes to our 50-50 conversation.
Yeah.
It's never 50-50.
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with his take, but I also don't think that woman is the wrong kind of woman or is less than either. The woman that he obviously is not attracted to. Cam clearly wants, to your point, a woman who's got her stuff together. He said that, but that will also, let him lead. First of all, to anybody watching this, you have to earn the ability to lead me. Like, that's just facts. I have no problem being led or deferring to someone that I trust has our best interest at heart, right? That's an actual partnership. We do that in business. We do that in, personal relationships. It's just when you have trust in somebody, when you know that person, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, you've earned my respect, you've earned my trust. I'm okay deferring to you in this way because I know that you're not going to intentionally lead me astray.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but what about when it comes to leading in a like a traditional sense, like, opening the door for her or, paying for dinner or, it could be taken that way also, into the smaller stuff. I mean, leading in a financial decision or leading in this, but saying, hey, get dressed, we're going to dinner, that's more of what I would see on a day-to-day. Do you know what I mean? That's more of what I would consider leading.
Yeah.
So if you have a woman that's arguing with that or trying to open your fucking door, then you might want to But there's a lot of dudes that I'm sure like that.
I mean,
but I would.
My man is on crutches. I'm gonna hold the door for him.
I would feel weird if my wife walked around and opened the door for me. It'd be like, I'm sure she feels weird when I do it for her because whatever. But I do occasionally. But that's what as a man I would consider leading.
Here's the deal. I love a man that opens a door. I love a man that is chivalrous. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, and maybe that's the 41-year-old in me that is still okay with all of those things. I've also learned, not to go screaming from the rooftops, I don't need you. I think that that's another thing that as women.
Have you thrown garbage bags of clothes out windows?
Have I thrown garbage? No, I've definitely packed shit up, though, for sure. I've packed things up and planned on putting them in an Uber and sending them, but then that got squashed. But whatever. No, like I said, the Cam Newton situation, because, of course, you already know, he's getting dragged. And he's getting dragged by, I'm sure, independent women, progressive women, forward-thinking women, which I consider myself. However, I do think, Len, and this is what we were talking about yesterday, I do think that women have gotten a little judgmental because being a wife, caring for your man, I think we hear the word cater and we automatically think, submissive. Oh, he wants to dominate me. Oh, she's what is it? Like she's a throw towel. Like, you know what I mean? She's getting steamrolled. And it's like, that's not it at all. Because when I'm in a relationship, I work 16-hour days. I still have no problem coming home and caring for my partner. Like, I love to throw down. I love when we cook together. But if he's burnt and exhausted and is like, babe, can you cook tonight? I have zero problem doing that.
Dialing
and
Uber.
Yes, no, I can cook. Fuck off. That is so annoying. People swear I can't cook and I want to punch them in the face. I have no problem drawing a bath. I have no problem giving a massage. But I've also been with a person who reciprocates those things. So again, it comes back to, I think, earning that kind of, that it's a two-way street. You do for the people that you feel deserve to be done for in that way. And I think that comes, full circle. But I'm not mad at him wanting that. And Sinclair, continues to, really go in on this bitch comment. I don't care. If I walk out of the room and I look incredible and my dude's like, woo, you a bad bitch. That's not going to bother me. I'm actually probably going to be like, thanks, babe. You know what I'm saying? But
Bitch, get my beer would bother you.
That would bother me. Motherfucker, who? I'll get your beer and it'll go straight upside your head. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think it's in how it's used, and you can say that it's disrespectful. And again, to each his own. That's the beauty of the ManTFup podcast. I think my bigger concern comes from the women, that want to look down or turn their nose up at women who legitimately want to be in a traditional relationship. That's clearly to your point what Cam said, although his whole thing when he started off, I had a great example. My parents, my man, you've got 500 kids from 500 different women. So clearly that great example didn't wear off on you because you're running through them and you're not with any of your baby mamas. So referencing your parents being
together obviously for 30 they didn't cook.
Well, no, oh my God. But how about this? If you have daughters, you need to, I hope you're showing the women in your life respect, or they're going to end up with a guy just like you with 5 other baby mamas and everything else. You know what I mean? So that's a different cycle. But I really wanted to talk about the fact that, there's nothing wrong with being a woman. And some women want to do it both, want to do it all, right? You have some women who you have women who want to be career oriented and want to be with a man who is going to respect that and understand that I don't cook, I don't clean, we'll have a maid, or maybe that's something that you like to do, or, whatever the case may be. And there is somebody out there for that woman. There's a guy who's like, that's cool. Who's getting Chinese? You or me?
Yeah. And I bet he doesn't get offended when she calls him a bitch.
This is what I deal with.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I think a lot of men would get offended when their woman calls them a bitch. Although I have, anyway, we won't talk about that. But and then there's women, I think, that walk both paths, right? We have Nestor here. Nestor's wife is in school. She has a job. And I'm sure she's still, handle shit at home, you know what I mean? But Nestor also is, I think, is a good partner. And then you like a more traditional situation, and you have a more traditional marriage, right? Like with a woman who has done an incredible job helping you raise your children, and she's a full hands-on mom and makes sure that the maid comes and takes care of the house.
Wow.
You know, so again, there's levels to this, but we have to stop turning our nose up at people who don't think or feel or want the same things that we do. Like there's nothing wrong with I don't really think there's anything wrong with what he said. I think his delivery was shit.
Yes.
And that's what's getting him in trouble. But the message in there.
But you know, you take it, it's, I think, again, society today is a little overbearing on what people say and how they take it, because everybody takes it a different way. And then you get the gang over here of bad bitches that are like, well, fuck you, Cam Newton, and then, you know, you get the others that are like, well, you know, I think I kind of like that I'd have, you know, a normal relationship with a man taking charge of my life.
Yeah.
So, but it's what were we talking about the other day where they just they get fed all of this stuff to blow it up. You have one woman making a comment about what he said and taking it out of context, and then you have 1,000 behind her blowing them up.
I think it's an insecurity, though. I also think that part of it, because guess what? When he says, and I think they hear "be quiet," and they think, again, you're being condescending. But sometimes being quiet is giving you the ability to listen, right? Like, and listening in a relationship is so important. And if he's been dating younger women or even some wholly grown ass women, you know, we don't listen. I have a very difficult time. Like a lot of times when I walk away from a conversation, it's not until I've sat there stewing over it for an hour that I realize that half of what was said to me that I fought probably makes sense. You know what I mean? So again, we get into defense mode when we're confronted with words like "be quiet," "let me lead," right? So the people watching him have this conversation, she's already tuned him out, but she's not paying attention to the fact that I'm sure somebody else has probably told her, you don't listen. Just be quiet. Hear me for a second, right? Like, and sometimes that's how we avoid fights. That's how we learn our partner better. Like, sometimes you have to shut the fuck up and listen to what your partner is telling you, because it's probably going to make your relationship better. So, I mean, saying he lost.
Gonna make his better.
What?
It's gonna make his better.
Or just make another baby, and then he's gonna move on.
If she shuts up.
Why? Why do you have to say it that way?
Oh, you see, but why do you take it out of context?
Well, no, because I'm saying, but I'm telling you, learn how to word yourself better.
It's funny,
and maybe it won't be so abrasive, and it'll be received.
You're right. It's funny though, but the hour you took to realize all of this stuff on your cool down session. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, he's on to he's gone through 6 different things by then. He doesn't even remember what you had a fight about an hour ago. He doesn't remember any of it.
I don't believe that.
That's gone.
I don't believe that.
Gone.
I think men are good at letting go of, I think, some petty things, but I think that there are bigger fights that men and women have. Men hold on. Like, I feel like the things that he's talking about are the things that y'all hold on to. Like that boss bitch that he's talking about, she's the one that's saying, I don't need you. Like, and she's using it flexy, like I don't need you. I don't need your money. I don't need your clout. I don't need this. I got my own.
If you're Cam Newton.
Men hear that though. Like, imagine if a man said that to us as women. Imagine if in your relationship, your man looked at you or your partner looked at you, ladies. This is specifically for the ladies, and said, "I don't need you." World War III. I don't need. That is some disrespectful shit. Especially depending on how you say it. Because you can say to you, like, baby, I don't need you. I want you. I have you in my life because I want you in my life. It's not about needing you to, to keep me in a lifestyle. It's not about needing you to complete me because I'm good. It's not about needing you to do my laundry because I can hire a person to do that for me. Taking a page out of Lenny's
book. Is maid no longer allowed to be used?
Did you see me censor myself?
Yes.
I don't know. Is made a bad word? I don't know. Let me scroll through some of these comments. But like, I think again, there's a delivery. If you're trying to tell somebody that you don't need them, you want them in a loving way, in a reassuring way. Like, I'm not with you for those things. I'm with you because I genuinely want you in my life, versus flexing with it. Like, versus I don't need your ass. Like, I can turn around tomorrow and go find somebody with more money. Like, you know how we do, and we need to stop, always trying to put the blame
I think
off.
that goes to a lot to how that relationship is built and supporting your man. And, there's just, I mean, some women just know that if their man is blatantly lying to somebody, they don't open their fucking mouth. And then some women don't know that. That's not the way it happened, I mean, that's like the first thing you don't ever want to hear your wife say when you're telling your boys some fucking story. Mm-hmm. Your wife be like, oh, that's not how it happened.
Why? If you're not telling the story the way that it happened.
Because your wife's there to back you up.
Oh, so you're lying intentionally.
You're embellishing on a story.
Okay.
Like, I caught a fish. It was this big.
And she says, well, no.
And she's like, no, it was this big. That's not right. Women need to know their place in that stuff. And and it should go both ways. It should go both ways.
It definitely should. Again, I think it's.
She's telling her girls, that bitch had a diamond on her hand that was this big. And I'll be like, no, it was like this. It's not, it's got to go both ways. You got to
support your person.
Yes.
I got it.
And I think a lot of this stuff a lot of the empowerment today comes from non-reality.
Well, I think to your point though, I think that is that is when they see that though, when they see when they hear the bad bitch comment, like, we're in this space in 2022, especially where that's what we're supposed to be saying, right? Like, that's what we're supposed to be hanging our laurels on. Like, that's what we're getting props for. Like, I got this myself. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we had an entire movement. It was called feminism. And it was, to support women going out there and getting equal pay, equal rights, being in control of our bodies. It was about us being able to do, I don't want to say whatever men can do, but it was about, I get it, ladies, we can. But I sometimes think that feminism took it one step farther. And if you weren't on that train, we look down on women who want to live a more traditional life. Like Nanny Alicia says it, because being traditional is stigmatized as being a weak woman or being subservient. Do you know what it takes to run a household? Like, do you know what it takes to care for that is a full-time job, handling all of that and really being a nurturer, really being a mother, really being a wife, like that. It is a full-time commitment. I don't know how in the position that I'm in right now with the amount of time that I work, like there's a reason why I'm so good with long distance relationships or without, did you resubmit him? Sinclair said, listen, I'm good with a strong woman taking care of me if I need it.
Yeah.
I think it comes from a place of defense because guys do try to make us shut up and just listen to them and they don't make sense. But again, he's not leading me. A guy that tells me to shut up and doesn't make sense doesn't get to lead me. You understand what I'm saying? But a man who respects me and that I respect and that I know, again, has my best interest at heart. If he asks me to just be quiet for a minute, if he asks me just, I don't know, it would still probably be tough for me.
I really think as a man, I really think women should maybe just understand that a man is never going to think like they do.
Can you mute your mic, please?
Oh, sorry. The phone keeps shutting off.
Well, why is your phone doing that and mine doesn't?
I have no idea.
Mine is better than yours because women are better than men.
Stupid setting. I'll give you that. You guys are much better. Live without us.
God. You put it on ignore.
So what I'm saying is, hey, listen, it might have been important. It goes to, they don't understand me. They don't, I think men clearly understand that women think differently. Like women, just back to the fight you were talking about. You said, after an hour I simmer down and I think about it. I'm telling you, when the fight's over, the man is on to something else, and he forgets about the fight. And, 90% of the fights are over bullshit. 90% of fights in relationships are over bullshit. Your daily bickering fights type of thing. So, it's women need to understand that men are simple creatures, and they don't necessarily think that deep into everything they say or do.
Again, I'm calling bullshit on you though. Like I know, I get it. I don't completely disagree with you, but even having been around you, Len, if you say something repeatedly to a person, whether it's your children, whether it's an employee, whether it's your wife or me, if you express a want or a wish or a need repeatedly and it goes unhandled, as a man, you eventually get to a point where that is kind of the ultimate form of disrespect. I think to a lot of men is if I and for women, we say things over and we don't ever tap out on you. Men tap out.
Yeah.
Like men tap the fuck out and way sooner than women do, because if y'all had to deal with you, oh my God, you wouldn't even believe. But we keep going. We'll stay in it. We're in it for the long haul. But like, if it's something that really is important to you, but you won't necessarily express it. Like, I'm not mad at Cam for putting it out there. I just hope that he's doing that in his relationships, and hopefully he's wording it a little better. I highly doubt that.
Maybe he hasn't been able to say it in his relationships. That's why he put it out there. Because now he's getting a flock of women that are calling him, "I'll cook for you, Cam. I'll do anything you want."
But like I said, I think he's stigmatizing, independent women, which is something that we've kind of had to become. And I'm proud of the fact that I have a level of independence. And I think that should be rewarded. And I think that it should be respected, just for the pure and simple fact that we've discussed this before, Len. I feel bad for men. Like, as a woman who pays her own bills and has the complete weight of her life on her shoulders, right? Like, I have a lot of respect for men who have traditionally been burdened with that, right? All their own. The mortgage, the car note, kids' schooling, taking care of the house, keeping all the bills paid, food on the table. Like, traditionally, men bore the entire brunt of financial responsibility for their family. And many men bore it silently, right? Like, especially back in the day, I don't remember hearing stories about men flipping out about, I just, usually I think men kind of carried that in silence, and you did what you needed to do to get it done. And if all of a sudden the house got repoed, whoops, what happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would hope for a little bit more communication from my partner in 2022 if things are going south like that.
That back in those days, if you watch The Godfather, where Michael says, "You can ask me about my business one time," and that's what it was. The woman stayed at home and did this, and the man did whatever he had to do, and it didn't matter.
But I think that we've made progress. I think having two incomes helping a household, I think having two people bringing something to the table, or at least two people understanding their roles and responsibilities in a relationship, is progress. But
Yes.
I think we need to understand that weight, because as a woman who does it for herself now and who has, my mom that lives with me and stuff, like, it'd be nice.
That's why men die younger.
What?
Sinclair said that's why men die younger.
Yeah, facts though. But like, it would be nice to have a partner, right? For me, like, when I think about partnership moving forward, whether that's marriage or whatever, I do want somebody who's on my level, right? Who I can share some of that responsibility with. I mean, I can always do it myself, but to me, that's the benefit of being in a partnership, right? Mm-hmm. Cam, on the other hand, has different values. Like, I don't know what his idea of partnership looks like, but it clearly involves being quiet and cooking, listening when he's speaking.
But if you met a man that, was very well off and said, "Hey, I want to just spend more time with you, step off the radio," what would you do? If you loved that guy and you wanted to spend the rest of your life with him?
I don't know. I'm not in that position. I would be making a very right now, I would say I wouldn't walk away. If you really loved me, I wouldn't walk away from what I do, because I haven't accomplished all the things that I want to accomplish.
That makes sense.
Right? If you give me a little bit longer, then maybe those goals will change, and I'll be like, no, I'd rather go, sit on in Saint Tropez with you for a month, right, in the spring. But as of right now, no, I wouldn't just walk away. But it would be I wouldn't be opposed to being with somebody that was like, relax. You know what I mean? Like just knowing that they've got it if something happens. Like that's, I think, a beautiful place to be in, and vice versa. It's nice to be with a person, I think, for a man, although men handle that differently, you know? And I don't know. I don't know if he's coming at it. I think when I hear what he says just at face value, I'm like, what an arrogant ass. And the whole like boss bitch, and he's mocking and he's, you know, rolling his neck and whatever. And so I kind of blame that a little bit on this other thing that's happening, which is women feeling the need to go around
the other thing,
acting like men, beating our chests, yelling about what we have and what we don't need, and you know, I can find somebody else and blah 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 blah. Because if we said that to a man, or if they said that to us, we'd be like, well then do it.
Yeah.
Fuck
The
you.
other thing is what
Sorry.
is he considering a boss bitch? You know,
Well, I don't think
some
he-
hot Instagram model or some attorney.
Well, here's
you know,
well, and that I think, but I think that's the difference. I think he's saying these girls running around calling
Instagram,
themselves
yes.
boss bitches don't know what a boss bitch is.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't necessarily
Those are the
disagree.
Those are the same ones that dragged Kardashian for talking about. That's the same ones. Those are those
Oh,
boss
God,
bitches.
we're about to get got from all. I think, you know, my biggest thing with this conversation, though, was just as a woman and as what I would like to think, or as an independent woman, as a woman who does for herself and doesn't rely on anybody else, I just want us to stop looking down on other women or judging other women who choose to take a different path. And I don't know if that comes from jealousy that they have to work. You know what I'm saying? Because I've noticed that we constantly find fault with the woman who's being taken care of, right? Oh, she's a gold digger. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. And I'm sure in some cases that is exactly what they are. But in other cases, they just found somebody that loves, like, you know what I mean? They found their person who loves them and wants to care for them. And I don't know if the single independent lady who's gone around screaming that, you know, she doesn't need anybody is just mad that she's still alone. So she needs to find fault with the happy couples out there. Or if it's genuinely, you know, this place of, I want women to do better. We should be out here. But it's like, you can want both, and it's okay to be good with being traditional. Like, traditional is okay. If that works for them, like, stop judging. We just need to stop judging. And I'm a judgmental bitch.
I also think part of it is men, and I'm not taking a shot at you guys, but, you know, taking the time to get to know a person before you really get into a relationship, because you know, once you throw it in, she thinks you're in a relationship. You know, once she gives it up, that's like next step. You know, get to know her first, talk to her first, go out on 2 or 3 dates before you try and get that ass. You know, that kind of thing, I think will, you know, give you a little more insight into the person you're with, so you won't have bad feelings like, oh, you know, I've been dating this girl for 3 months and she doesn't do this and she doesn't do this and she doesn't do this. Well, why didn't you ask her that on the first date? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like guys go straight in for the kill. Women then get emotionally attached. Now the guy is obligated to be in a relationship. Then shit doesn't work out because you don't know each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we talked about that. My uncle told me one time, he said, you know, everything that women fall in love with is exactly what they end up hating down the road.
Yeah.
And I laughed, and I didn't know what he was like. I didn't know at the time kind of what he meant. And he was like, so he kind of broke it down. He was like, we are who we are on our first date. We are who we are 6 days later, 6 weeks later, 6 months later, 6 years later, 16 years later. We are who we are. We don't operate in this levels thing, whereas women a lot of times come into something maybe a little bit more nonchalant, or, oh, I'm good, or don't, you know, if you don't want a man to smother you or stalk you in the beginning, guess what? He's not going to smother you or stalk you when you're completely in love with him and checking your phone 17 times a day because now you want that attention. Like, the guy who's going to text you 4 times a day is going to text you 4 times a day from
Forever.
the day he meets you forever, right? But for a lot of women, we're like, ew, he's clingy. Oh my God, you're pressed. Don't be thirsty, right? But then you end up wanting it for him once he puts the dick on you, and you know, you're like, oh my God, he's forever. And why doesn't he talk? Like, that's not who he is. So if you want that, you got to find that in the dude off jump, and that might mean reevaluating some shit. You know what I'm saying? And on the flip side for the dude, it's like, if you want the woman who looks away and if you want the Instagram model, right? Believe who she is when she shows you, and she's showing you a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
I think he was talking about getting catfished a little too.
What?
I
don't.
They're
not
not
catfish.
the same.
Like he's
they're not the same. Well, I mean, listen, they're not the same person they are on Instagram.
I don't know what
The girls on Instagram are not the same in person as they are in real life. Like, they're so out there and this and that on Instagram, and then you meet them and they're like shy little,
Some, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't really.
No, because you're genuinely you when you're on there.
all the time.
So, of course you wouldn't understand that. But like Sabina. Sabina's very, when she's behind the camera, she's very out there. But in person, she's very, very shy. So those kind of things make a big difference. Anybody, it's like back to the keyboard warrior thing. Anybody's a tough guy on the phone or, on the keyboard. And any girl is a supermodel on Instagram.
I think I just hate the fact, though, that messages, again, it was like the Kim Kardashian thing that we talked about a few weeks ago. If it had come from anybody else, because when I tell you, Len, I swear to God, I've had 100 people since then, not celebrities, not Insta famous, tell me people don't want to work today, right? Small business owners, we were talking about it on, the DJ Live's morning show with KimmyB recently, 4-hour workday, 4-day work weeks. That was one of our topics yesterday. And we had plenty of people calling in and saying exactly, oh, nobody wants to work, blah, blah, blah. Had it come from anybody else but Kim Kardashian, right?
Yeah. People would have respected it.
You're damn right. Oh my God, it's crazy. And it would have come from the kids working in retail that have had to do doubles because somebody calls out at the last minute. You know what I mean? But because it was her, born with a silver spoon, you know what I mean? It goes left. Cam Newton, if this message comes from anybody else and possibly doesn't reference women as bitches and say things like, be quiet as opposed to just sometimes listen, I think it's who's delivering the message.
Yeah.
And so it gets lost. I'm not really mad. As crazy as that sounds, I'm not completely upset with what he says. I think sometimes we all, men and women alike, need to stop down and listen. I think that it's okay to be led by somebody worthy of leading. Now, in Cam's case, maybe that is your teammates. You're great on a football field. You have shown me nothing in your personal life that would say or make me say, yes, Cam, lead me to the promised land. You feel me? But that's just me. I'm not dating Cam.
Well, that's that goes to the source of everything. Like, I'm sure you have some girlfriends and they're like, oh, I hated that restaurant. I hated that bar. I hated this. I hated that. It goes to the source. Because if that girlfriend says she hates everything, then that doesn't mean the bar sucked. It just means she hates everything. So you have to go to the source. So you have, someone who's got 10 baby mamas and 10 babies and not with any of them. You have to look at the source that this is coming out of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think the message sometimes just gets lost in it, right? So now everybody, once again, as we say, is defensive. So then everybody's defending and boss women and we're out here and we don't need that. And it's like, the more you tell people you don't like, I just think that that's silly because clearly you do. Right? Like, clearly, to be in a partnership, people are meant to be together. I know men would love to say we're not meant to be monogamous. That's not the conversation we're having right now. But human beings are meant to be together. We are social creatures, right? Like, we need
interaction.
We need partnership. Most of us want companionship. I joke. I think men love monogamy, just not the mono part. Like, that's something they love. Everything that comes with a relationship. You love people cooking for you. You love, being catered to and doted on and cared for. You just sometimes like it from more than one person. And again, different conversation. But, don't miss the message because of who the messenger is probably my biggest thing there. And it's funny because Sinclair just commented that he disagrees that men are who they are when you start dating them, and who they... Here's the deal, Sinclair, and to anybody else watching. I think it's particularly true. Women, I think, will change who they are to make people happy way quicker than men will. Men will adjust when they're ready to adjust. If a man is truly, I think, growing in himself, it has nothing to do. A man's got to want to do it for himself, period. Like, I think a woman will I don't want to say it's that we pretend, but I think that we know how to mold ourselves to be who that individual that we're with wants.
Yeah, but that again is a double-edged sword, because the minute that you feel like, goes back to what you're saying, all those things they liked about you in the beginning, they hate in the end. You know, and I think women will put on a facade when they first start dating. Oh, I think he's cute, I'm going to date him, and da, 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 da. And they put on a facade. They're not, they're not burping and farting on the first date. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not letting you know who they are on the first date. And I think men are a little more, I would think, at least the men I know, are a little more, what you see is what you get.
But I'm talking, but you're talking about very superficial. I'm talking about major change. I'm talking about the guy who is a player, right? Like, some players will change. Like, some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are playboys out there that can, but they do it in their own time.
Yes.
They can have met the love of their life 20 years ago, and she literally didn't inspire them to change. You understand? Like, they've got to get to that place on their own. I think women, on the other hand, I have in relationships gone out of my way to learn about the interests of my partner, right? So that we have things to talk about, because or because it means something to them, I'm willing to take the time to learn about it so that we can share in that experience together.
Did they do the same for you?
I don't know. No, but for me, it's like if we're vibing with it, like if it's cars, like, okay, cool, like I'll go to NASCAR, I'll go to Formula, like, and I'm having fun. I don't necessarily need you to come to the theater with me, because I have people to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that if somebody really loves you, they'll do it just because. Like, I don't like it, but I'll go with you. You know what I mean? I'll go with you so that
I draw the line at like relatives' houses.
But I do think that women are more capable of molding and adapting to the wants and needs of their partner than men are. And that's not a knock on men. I think that that's a part of what makes being a woman so incredible.
No, but I think people are going to take that as a knock on women.
Why?
Because, you're just saying, because you just put a role, and this is why men are on that whole, I'm a man, she's a woman, because women, that's what we expect. We expect you to conform to us. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what you just said you do, right? That's what's expected. But this whole movement about the empowerment and bad bitches or whatever is that we don't have to conform to you. We're going to conform. You conform to us. That's the type of.
What I'm saying is, and I've said this from the beginning, don't miss the message because of the messenger. Like,
yes.
As an independent woman who does it for herself, I still see nothing wrong with that, because there can be something about a person that is just so intriguing and so captivating and so enamoring. Like, when you fall in love with somebody, it's not work. It's not like you want them to be happy. Like, you just like. I mean, if you can't cook, you can't cook. I mean, I don't know. Like, that's torture. Like, I would tell my person that. I'd be like, listen, babe, I get it. You like a home-cooked meal. Not my forte, right? Like, you'll literally leave me if I cook for you. So just let me order you takeout, right? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I just hope that on the other side, here's my thing. Draw the line in the sand if it's not being reciprocated. Like, you asked me if people do those things for me. Like, I've been happy with the people that I'm with, but I'm still I'm still single. So with that being said, clearly maybe what I did wasn't necessarily reciprocated. So that could be a reason. Or on the flip side, I have said things out of the side of my face that were wildly disrespectful and not realized it in the moment. Like, I did tell my ex that he wasn't enough in so many words. And not that he wasn't enough, but that the time we were spending wasn't enough. That I wanted more. I needed more. We should be here. Like, all, that more. And in his mind, he was like, I am literally giving her everything I have to give in this moment. And I'm not enough, which means I will never be enough. I didn't process it that way. In my mind, it was, I love you. I want to spend more time with you. Like, You know what I mean? I didn't think of it as a negative thing. I thought of it as I love you. Like, this is, how else do you show somebody you love them? You spend time with them. You I don't know. And unfortunately, when we stopped dealing with each other and I had to listen to my words through his ears, you know, like I had to take myself out and put myself in his shoes, I was like, holy shit, that's what he means. And it was the most heartbreaking thing on the planet for me. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Because what happened to you? I lost you.
Yeah.
But and that's why I try to tell women all the time now, like, watch what you say, because if you said if somebody said the things that you say to them, if your man or your partner, just your partner in general, said what, you know, put yourself on the other side and imagine how you would feel if what you were saying was being said to you.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok the other day that some things you say up here and some things you say out here.
It is very difficult. Like, as a person who talks for a living, though, it's very hard to censor yourself. Like I said, I want to go and be honest and be authentic and live in my truth. But it's like, then you also have to deal with the repercussions that come with that.
No, I think that's why you're here. You get to vent a little.
I do get to vent a little, although yesterday, like, we've had some scary vent sessions. But anyway, somebody's saying couples counseling. All couples should go to counseling. I thoroughly believe that. I also think that people should be honest, like Lenny was saying before. Have those conversations. I mean, I don't know. The whole bad bitch, boss bitch thing is cool. Like, I would self-identify as a boss bitch or as a bad bitch. Like, I don't mind it, but just be cognizant when you're dealing with another person. What is that really? What does that even mean? Can somebody in the comments on our live or in the comments on the YouTube define what a boss bitch is? Like, what does that mean? What does it mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends who you're taking it from.
Yeah.
If I said a boss bitch, I would be talking about a woman that is, you know, intelligent, you know, has got a master's in something, is an attorney, is a lawyer, is a professional person. That's what I'd consider a boss bitch.
Yeah.
What he'd consider a boss bitch is,
now you're judging because maybe he considers the same thing a boss bitch, and maybe that's why he's referencing.
I don't care if I'm judging or not,
bitches.
because I'm judging a book by its cover. If you're dressed like Jimi Hendrix, you're not looking for a lawyer, you're looking for a hoochie.
What, you looking for a roadie?
A hoochie.
Why?
But I would just
respect Jimmy like that.
Jimmy was the shit, so. You know,
he was the shit. I'm just saying, yeah.
He was all about bitch.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you about. I don't know Cam, so I don't know what he's looking for. The way he was rolling his head when he was being condescending when referencing the boss bitch, the bad bitch, and he was really trying to say you don't even know what a boss bitch is because.
Which again leads me to believe that he's calling a boss bitch.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants one of those. I think he wants what you're talking about. But on the flip side, you need to know how to respect that individual.
But they don't want him.
She's not just going to follow you.
Yeah, they don't want him.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have to earn her respect and her trust. Like the chick who can do it herself, it's going to take you a little bit more time to earn that. But when you do, I don't want to say that it will be carte blanche, but once she does trust you enough, I think that she would defer, if that's her value system. You know what I mean? Like, if you want 50-50 equal partnership, I mean, I think there's time. And again, we had that conversation when we were talking about 50-50. Sometimes somebody will be leading here and somebody will be leading over here. It's knowing who has the strength in which situation. Like, if you're married to a teacher and it comes down to your children's education, have the conversation as a couple. But at the end, defer to her. She's a teacher. She's dedicated her life to educating children. She might have a leg up on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you two are a professor.
Sort of like us here. You're totally leading.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is what you do.
Because this is what I do. But in business...
She's a boss bitch right here.
But in business, and I take zero offense to him calling me a boss bitch either.
Because it's in the right context.
Yes, and that is not bitch. Bring me my dinner.
Yes.
Like, Len, I would throw my shoe at your head.
Yeah, and then you get my fucking
and
dinner.
And I'm pretty sure. So no.
Whatever.
No, I wouldn't.
Talk big now.
No, I wouldn't, and I know your wife wouldn't either. So whatever.
Shh. Wrong.
Wait. Sinclair said, I wish one of his baby's mothers would say, I wish you were a boss on the football field, especially the way his career is going right now. How about you lead on the football field and then maybe I'll follow you at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. she's a boss. Aw, thanks, Sinclair. But yeah, again, I feel that I just want to stop with the narrative of that there's something wrong with being traditional, because that's a scare. That scares me. You know, first of all, to each their own. Again, I would love to be in an actual partnership, again, with somebody who I felt equally yoked with, and that could take some of the burden of responsibility off of my shoulders, that we could walk, you know, through life together. I wouldn't mind having somebody who, in certain situations, I was able to defer and let lead, you know, and it doesn't mean that I need it, because I'm clearly doing okay by myself, but I see absolutely nothing wrong with it, and I would probably breathe a little easier sometimes, because there's nothing like having a partner that you can walk in a door, sit down, and it's not even about communicating, but when you sit down next to them, you just breathe easier. You know, you just like that safety, right? And just that knowledge that there's somebody by your side that's got your back. And that, to me, I think was what he was kind of trying to say to some degree. Like, you've got to be able to be in it with this person. You've got to be able to contribute to a household.
Are you defending him?
No, like I said, I think he's an idiot the way he said it. I don't disagree with his message. And, you know, in a relationship, you do need to listen. You do need to be quiet. And that's probably why counseling works for couples, because you've got a therapist there that says, shut up. You go, now you go. Right? And because your wife at home won't listen to you when you say, shut up.
It's more like,
or
let her
quiet.
talk.
Yeah.
Let her finish.
No, but and that's
let her
because
finish.
we don't know how to communicate with each other. So we use words like, you don't know how to be quiet. You don't know how to shut up. You can't just sit there and you know, be silent.
We had the communication thing. Just
Who?
tell her she's right. It's over.
You gotta, I think I'm saying, you're a boss. Who is this? Because you're an intellectual, intelligent, and self-aware in handling your own business. Aw, thanks. I appreciate that. I like going on my live. They're nice to me. That's funny. Okay. So, I mean, Len, do you have anything else? I mean, we had some good comments, and Angelique was a big part of this one. We love her. I'm trying to go back here. Why can't a woman just be a boss? Why can't a woman? Sinclair. At the end of, you know what? I love Sinclair. Sinclair, you really want to do away with the B word. I'm not mad at it, but like I still drop it all the time. So I'll be like, bitch, what? Means I think everybody has to have a label nowadays. I listen to your radio station. Thanks, Christian. Counseling is key. We talked about that. Unfortunately, some people don't know how to cater to your love language. Love languages are another one. Do you believe in love languages, Lenny?
Yes.
You do?
I kind of do.
What's your love language?
I'm not telling.
What?
I'm not telling.
Why?
First of all, you don't have to have just one. That's first off.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Why were you moving your lips like that?
No, because you're like, you don't have to have just one.
I'm delayed over here.
Oh, so what are your love languages?
As far as what? As far
like,
as
well, there's personal touch. There's words of affirmation.
Yeah, I'm probably not so good at that one.
There's
no, I guess it depends on what words you were using and at what time you're using them.
Mm-hmm. What is the other one? Acts of kindness.
There's 5, I think, right? Isn't there 5?
There's touch. There's words of affirmation. I know there's like acts of kindness. There's, you know, showing me.
Yes.
What are the other ones? Come on, people.
There's like 5 of them.
Oh, women are more nurturing than men. Men need to learn that shit. Do men need to learn how to be more nurturing? Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah, you can have more than one. Oh, there are 5. Quality time. I'm up there with a daughter and a granddaughter, and they're the bosses. So
you guys need to watch the Flintstones.
Fight language. What? Autocorrect. Negative labeling. Okay, I don't know. It's something about Amazonian. You got to have each other's backs through thick and thin. Yeah, I think, but that's also another conversation, and it's being honest about what they are. Yes. Right? Like, that's, I think, another important thing.
Getting to know the person beyond the initial
physical.
Yeah, the initial thing. I mean, people go into relationships based on a physical thing, and there could be nothing beyond that. Mm-hmm. And nothing beyond that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. We talked about that I don't know if you heard that conversation. We were talking about that, though, and what's more important, a physical connection.
Don't get me wrong. Physical connection is probably one of the most important things.
Or physical chemistry versus personal connection.
Yeah, but you got to have both.
Well,
you're not going to survive without it.
But rarely are they ever 50-50 in a relationship.
No, there's never going
And
to be 50-50.
that personal connection, because at some point in time, unless you have ManTFup in your life, a lot of times things take a nosedive in the bedroom. Like when you get to be 60, and you've been with somebody, and even sometimes earlier, I know friends of mine that in their 40s started dealing with hormone issues as men. Their sex drive just wasn't the same. So and women are tending
And
to
what
hit
they
their-
do, they got a new girlfriend.
No.
Boom, right back to the top.
No. Oh my God.
Sorry. You know.
You have a whole product line because they don't go get new girlfriends.
Yeah, whatever.
Because
Yeah, I feel
because your testosterone is not based on your girlfriend.
correct. Your sex drive might be, though.
How? Your sex drive is impacted oftentimes by what's happening inside your body.
Yes. Yeah,
So
I
you can
know.
be physically attracted to somebody, but Mr. Man is just like, I'm a little tired today. Meh, meh.
Guess what?
And that is happening earlier and earlier for men.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's not always the woman that's the problem. And
It's,
then people,
it's the chemicals you put in your body.
yeah.
Just like everything else.
Facts. So yes, I think physical chemistry is highly, highly important. But that personal connection, like you said, because eventually somebody
Yeah.
else could come along, but that personal connection
Yes.
is what will keep you with your
Yes.
person
Yes.
and keep you from cheating.
And you could stay attracted to a person physically and not to them mentally or emotionally. You know, you can, like you said, you would learn about what your boyfriend wanted and did what he wanted to do, the things that he enjoyed, you would go right along with it.
Yeah.
If you don't do
I feel
that-
like I'm a more well-rounded person for that too. By the way, like, because when you say it to me as I don't want to, as a feminist, as a person who is independent, I'm like, when you say it that way. But then I think about it, and I'm like, for what though? Like, I had a great time doing those things. I learned, I now
and you enjoyed the company.
100%, and I am more well-rounded. I mean, if it was something, I don't know if it was bocce ball. I don't know if I would. I don't know. But even with that, I'm competitive. So long as I don't. Like, I'm good. The more shit I know, the better off I am. When that relationship ends, now I've got another tool in my tool belt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've got a little bit more knowledge in my brain. The worst thing to do is to date somebody that doesn't inspire you to learn anything new.
Absolutely.
Right? Isn't
or
that worse?
experiment, or, just in general. Just,
Yeah.
you need a little prodding, I think.
Yeah, God forbid. Because if I dated somebody that was just like me, like, all we would do is sit on the couch and binge watch TV when we were not working all the time. Whack.
All right.
Wackadoodle. Are we good?
I think we've had enough of Cam.
At the end of the day, we've had enough. Wow, we talked it for an hour. Thank you guys for staying on this live, by the way. Oh, by the way, Angeli and your wife commented on the 5 love languages: quality time, physical touch, receiving gifts, acts of service, and words of affirmation. Which one's for me? Oh, Sinclair, mental connection is just as sexy. Sinclair, stop trying to get points. Intelligence is sexy. If you can't have a conversation, I cannot deal with it. I'm here with you, girl. That's a whole other conversation.
Yes.
Okay, so ladies, man the fuck up and be willing to take criticism. It's not, or I should say critiquing, right? There's nothing wrong with being a traditional woman, wanting a traditional situation, or being a little bit boss and a little bit traditional, or being all boss. Like, I just think we heard that and automatically wanted to, like, bug out, right? Who's he telling to be quiet? Who's he telling to get in the kitchen and cook? Who's he telling to follow? Like, skirt!
He's telling whoever's listening. If that's not you, he's not your man. That's simple. It's just that simple.
But I think we can all walk away with something from what he said. Like, I think any woman, and especially the ones rolling their neck and in their feelings over what he said, again, how he said it may not have been the most diplomatic, but there's a message in that. And in partnership, right, somebody leads, somebody follows. I'm not saying it has to be the same person all the time, but you do have to be willing to defer to your person in some situations, right?
I'm
There's got to be.
certainly not going to tell you how to do the laundry.
There you go. Okay, see. Yep.
It's
And
true.
I'm certainly not going to tell you how to be a good person, because clearly you're not.
No, it would
like-
be, you're certainly not going to tell me how to change the oil. It's that type of, it's a man thing and a woman thing. Like you're not going to change
Put
your
the
own
shovel
oil.
down, Lenny.
You're not going to change
Because
your
you're
own
literally digging yourself into a hole.
Uh-huh.
Because there's if Stella was sitting here, who's to say I can't change oil?
Well, then there's a man out there for her that does laundry.
Okay, no. Or you can both do the laundry and you can both change the oil. Like, we don't need to have set in stone gender roles, but there is nothing wrong with traditional relationships, right? And whatever that looks like for you is what it looks like for you, but there's nothing wrong with, cooking for your person. That doesn't make you less of a boss. And this is, I guess, specifically for the women. It doesn't make you less of a boss, nor does it make you less of a man if you're better in the kitchen. Like, whoever's better at the shit, do it, right? I mean, it is what it is.
And there's nothing wrong with learning how to cook. It's a skill.
It is a skill. It is a skill. But even some people just never really get the hang of it. But yeah, sure. If your person would it's also good quality time. It's fun to get in the kitchen
Take a
together
cooking
and
class.
cook. It can be very
Date
sexy
night.
too when they come up behind you and then you're tasting the food. It's fun. Trust me. And the listening thing is key on both sides. But if a man ever, again, not if he tells you, just sit down and shut up or, just be quiet. And I know that sometimes it gets delivered that way in the heat of the moment. But somebody encouraging you to listen is probably because they want you to hear whatever it is they're saying. And that could positively impact your relationship moving forward if you are willing to receive it. So, again, don't listen to the messenger, listen to the message. We need to listen to each other.
Mm-hmm. Like, share, follow.
Yeah, sure.
Download.
All of it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to DM us with any topics you'd like us to talk about. By the way, manning the fuck up in a relationship means listening across the board.
I could deal with that. And if you want to email us any comments, you could always send them to KimmyB at ManTFupTV.com.
Sure. Send them there. Send them to KimmyB at ManTFupTV.com. Love you, Len. I'm happy that we did this. Your
Me
phone.
too.
Can you get a new phone, please? That was trash.
Yes, I'll get a new phone.
Trash. I certainly won't tell you about
Because the 12 is so outdated.
Well, clearly there's something wrong with yours. Is that
No,
a
it's
baby
settings.
12?
I don't have the settings right.
Is that a baby 12 too? Certainly not the
Yeah.
12 Pro Max.
No, I don't have an iPad in my pocket.
I do. A couple of them. And I'm not happy to see you either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Listen, we're out. Thank you. Love you guys. Any topics, slide in the DMs, thoughts, comments, concerns for my sanity working with the people I work with. You can comment on that too.
And if you just want to listen to us again, the podcast will be up tomorrow.
Will it be up tomorrow?
It'll be up tomorrow.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. The podcast will be up tomorrow. And I'm going to post this on my timeline. Love you guys. Peace out.